Migration identity fragmentation. When you belong to more than one country and fully to none. If you have never migrated, you may think identity is stable. If you have migrated, you know that is fiction. Migration does not just change your address. It fractures your operating system. You carry one set of instincts into a place governed by another. You bring one emotional grammar into a culture speaking a different dialect. And slowly, sometimes painfully, you realize what felt normal in one country feels strange in another. And what feels natural now feels like betrayal of your past. This chapter is not about passports, it is about psychological split. It is about what happens when two national imprints collide inside one nervous system, and what it costs to hold both. The mechanism. When imprints clash, migration psychology consistently shows that relocation triggers identity negotiation. You do not simply add a second culture, you renegotiate the first. Hybridity can be empowering. It can also be disorienting. You are exposed to contrasting values, individualism versus collectivism, directness versus restraint, hierarchy versus egalitarianism, meritocracy versus relational loyalty. Your nervous system cannot hold contradictions passively. It must choose, blend, suppress, or compartmentalize. If your home culture emphasized duty and harmony, and your host culture prizes autonomy and self-expression, tension emerges. If your home culture valued restraint and hierarchy, and your host culture normalizes confrontation and egalitarianism, confusion surfaces. Migration does not erase imprint. It multiplies it, and without awareness, fragmentation deepens. The Chinese-Australian diaspora. Duty meets fair go. Consider the Chinese-Australian experience. Many migrants from China carry collectivist values, authority respect, and scarcity-driven ambition. Australia, by contrast, emphasizes egalitarian individualism, informality, and anti-elitism. The Chinese imprint may whisper, honor family. Achieve security, avoid disruption. The Australian imprint may whisper, speak up, question authority, live balanced. These messages coexist uneasily. At home, children may be expected to pursue stable, prestigious careers. Outside, they observe peers prioritizing lifestyle and personal fulfillment. At home, restraint and hierarchy may shape communication. Outside, directness and informality dominate. The migrant nervous system toggles constantly. Too assertive at home? Disrespectful. Too restrained at work? Invisible. Belonging becomes situational. And over time, identity splits. Am I Chinese enough? Am I Australian enough? The tension is not failure. It is imprint collision. Korean diaspora. Hierarchy in a horizontal world. Korean migrants entering Western societies often confront similar tension. Hierarchy and exam-driven status from home culture meet Western openness and fluid career identity. In Korea, status can shape romantic prospects, professional respect, and family pride. In Western contexts, hierarchy may be less rigid. Self-expression is encouraged. Confrontation is normalized. A Korean-Australian or Korean-American individual may struggle with visibility. Speaking up may feel arrogant. Silence may feel safe, but costly. Romantic expectations may clash. Family loyalty may conflict with individual desire. And digital diaspora communities amplify comparison. Social media reconnects migrants to home country standards. You are not just negotiating one culture. You are negotiating both simultaneously. The nervous system lives in translation mode, constantly calibrating. Indian diaspora, heritage and reinvention. India's diaspora spans continents. Migrants carry deep cultural heritage, family structures, religious traditions, multi-generational values. Host countries may emphasize innovation, independence, and self-directed identity. For second-generation immigrants, the conflict can intensify. Parents preserve tradition to protect identity. Children absorb host culture norms naturally. Pressure builds. Honor ancestry. Assimilate to survive. Heritage becomes pride. It also becomes burden. You may feel proud of rituals. You may also feel constrained by expectations. Intergenerational tension emerges. Parents fear cultural dilution. Children fear cultural confinement. Both are reacting to imprint preservation. Improvisation meets bureaucracy, Brazil and structured systems. Consider migrants from more improvisational societies like Brazil entering highly structured bureaucratic systems in Europe or North America. Brazilian culture often emphasizes relational warmth, flexibility, and adaptive creativity. Structured host societies may prioritize punctuality, documentation, procedural rigor. What feels warm in one context may feel unprofessional in another. What feels organized in one context may feel cold in another. Migrants must recalibrate. Their strengths may initially be misinterpreted. Their instincts may clash with institutional expectations. Adaptation requires self-editing. Repeated self-editing risks erosion of identity. Hybrid richness versus fragmentation. Hybridity offers extraordinary cognitive flexibility. Bicultural individuals often demonstrate high creativity. They navigate multiple worldviews. They bridge communities. They detect nuance others miss. But hybridity without integration produces fragmentation. You may feel too much of one culture in one room, not enough in another. Belonging becomes conditional. You code switch linguistically and behaviorally. Over time, the question arises, who am I when no one is watching? If identity shifts contextually, stability wavers. This can lead to chronic self-monitoring. And self-monitoring exhausts the nervous system. The digital amplifier. In previous chapters, we explored digital narrative shaping. For migrants, digital media intensifies fragmentation. You consume host country news. You consume home country news. You witness political tension in both. You observe cultural debates from afar. Diaspora communities online reinforce heritage narratives. Host society discourse reinforces assimilation pressure. You are pulled in multiple directions simultaneously. Identity becomes layered. Layered identity is not weakness, but it requires conscious integration. Without integration, you oscillate, neither here nor there. Many migrants describe feeling in between, not fully home in origin country, not fully integrated in host country. Accent marks difference. Behavior marks difference. Values mark difference. This in-between state can feel isolating. Belonging is fundamental human need. When belonging feels unstable, anxiety increases. The nervous system seeks anchor. Some migrants over-assimilate, suppress origin culture entirely. Others retreat into diaspora enclaves, preserve identity rigidly. Both are attempts to stabilize. Neither resolves fragmentation fully. Relational consequences. Migration imprint influences relationships deeply. Romantic partnerships across cultures require translation. Communication styles differ. Conflict norms differ. Family expectations differ. Even humor differs. Children of migrants often inherit split loyalties. At home, one culture dominates. At school, another. This produces early code switching. Some children integrate fluidly. Others internalize confusion. Parents may expect obedience rooted in home culture. Children may adopt autonomy rooted in host culture. Conflict emerges, not because of rebellion, but because imprint differs, over-adaptation and withdrawal. Two common migrant responses. Over-adaptation. You work twice as hard to prove belonging. You suppress accent. You downplay heritage. You align fully with host culture. But internal dissonance remains, or withdrawal. You limit engagement with host culture. You remain within diaspora community. You protect heritage intensely. But external opportunities narrow. Both strategies protect against rejection. Both can limit growth. Intergenerational transmission. Migration trauma often transmits quietly. Parents who sacrificed stability may pressure children to succeed. Scarcity imprint intensifies. Children internalize duty. Identity becomes burdened by gratitude and guilt. Your parents gave up everything. This phrase can shape career decisions, romantic choices, geographic mobility. Intergenerational narrative becomes powerful. And if not examined, constraining. The provocative truth. You may not be confused. You may be bicultural. You may not lack identity. You may have two. You may not be inconsistent. You may be contextually adaptive. You may not be indecisive. You may be negotiating imprint. But negotiation without awareness becomes fragmentation. Migration does not automatically produce growth. It produces complexity. Growth requires integration. Fragmentation mapping exercise. Step 1. Draw a timeline of your life. Mark. Country of birth. Age of migration. Major cultural transitions. School, career, marriage. Moments you felt most proud of heritage. Moments you felt ashamed or disconnected. Step 2. Identify tension points. Where did values clash? Where did you feel too foreign or not enough? Step 3. Identify strengths gained. Adaptability, language skills, perspective flexibility, cultural empathy. Step 4. Write a hybrid self-statement. For example, I value family loyalty from my origin culture and open communication from my host culture. Or, I combine discipline from my upbringing with egalitarian fairness from my new home. Integration requires articulation. Unarticulated hybridity feels unstable. Articulated hybridity becomes strength toward integrated identity. The goal is not to choose one culture over another. It is to choose consciously. Keep what strengthens. Release what constrains. Acknowledge loss. Honor heritage. Adapt deliberately. Belonging does not require erasure. It requires ownership. Ownership of both roots and roots. Closing reflection. Ask yourself, which parts of my origin culture do I defend automatically? Which parts of my host culture do I adopt reflexively? Where do I feel tension most? In career? In love? In authority? In emotion? Migration does not fracture you. Unexamined imprint does. When you see the split, you can integrate it. And integration transforms fragmentation into depth. In the next section of this book, we move toward healing, from analysis to action. Because recognizing imprint is powerful. But reclaiming sovereignty is transformative. For now, remember this. Belonging to more than one culture is not weakness. It is complexity. And complexity, when integrated, becomes resilience. But only if you stop trying to be singular and start allowing yourself to be whole, even if that wholeness contains contradiction.